Okay, when you think about the great wine regions of the world, where does your mind go? France? Italy? Maybe California? Well, today, we're uncorking a story of resilience and history from a place that's probably not on your list, Angola. Let's dive into the incredible rebirth of a wine culture that was almost lost forever. And this really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? What if the next big thing in wine isn't something new at all? What if it's one of the oldest wine stories out there, one that we've just forgotten about? We're not just talking about a new player, but the revival of an ancient one. So let's be honest, Angola probably isn't the first, second, or even 10th country that pops into your head when someone says wine. And you know what? That's exactly what makes this whole story so fascinating. We're looking at a country with this incredibly rich, complex history and a landscape just brimming with untapped potential, making it a truly compelling newcomer on the world stage. But to really get where Angolan wine is going, we first have to look back at where it's been. See, this isn't a story about building an industry from the ground up. It's about resurrecting a once thriving culture that was nearly wiped off the map by the turmoil of history. This timeline really shows you the roller coaster ride. It all kicks off way back in the 16th century, with Portuguese missionaries planting the first vines. Then, for a long time during the colonial era, production is actually booming. But then you get to 1975, independence. It's followed by a devastating civil war that just decimates the entire industry. The vineyards go dormant for decades, until very recently, when this modern renasciment, a rebirth, finally begins. So you've got to be asking, how is a comeback like this even possible? How does a wine region come back from the dead? Well, the answer, as it so often is with wine, lies in the land itself. We need to talk about Angola's unique and, well, awakening terroir. And just so we're all on the same page, terroir is basically everything about a place that makes it unique for growing grapes. We're talking the soil, the landscape, the climate, the whole shebang. Think of it like a fingerprint for a wine region, and let me tell you, Angola's is truly one of a kind. The first key to Angola's terroir is the Atlantic Ocean. You've got this cold current, the Benguela current, flowing right along the coast. It acts like a giant natural air conditioner. This cools everything down, moderating the temperatures and creating the absolute perfect conditions for fresh, aromatic white wines. All right, the next piece of the puzzle is altitude. When you move inland, you go up, way up. Some vineyards on the Planalto Central can hit 2,000 meters. This gives you these huge swings in temperature, warm, sunny days to ripen the grapes, and then cool nights to preserve that crucial acidity. This daily cycle is the secret sauce for developing really deep, complex flavors. And finally, let's talk about what's underfoot, the soil. Angola isn't just one thing. It's this incredible patchwork quilt of different soils. You've got sandy areas, clay, and even these really mineral-rich volcanic soils. For a winemaker, that's like being a chef with a pantry full of amazing ingredients. It gives them a huge palette to work with. So, with a terroir this promising, the next obvious question is, what are they actually growing? And this brings us to the grapes of this new era, which are a really fascinating mix of Old World history and New World ambition. And this just illustrates their strategy perfectly. On one hand, they're honoring their Portuguese heritage, planting varieties like Touriga Nacional, grapes that are already proven to love this kind of climate. But on the other hand, they're planting the big international stars, like Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah, and Chardonnay. These have that global recognition, and what's more, they're showing fantastic results. It's really the best of both worlds. So what does all this actually taste like in the glass? Well, based on what's coming out right now, the reds are typically full-bodied, rich with ripe fruit and spice, and have these really lovely soft tannins. The whites, they're wonderfully fresh and aromatic, just bursting with citrus and a distinct minerality. And the rosés are exactly what you'd want, bright and full of strawberry and raspberry flavors. But here's where it gets really exciting. This is the potential game changer. Beyond all the familiar grapes, Angola might be sitting on a hidden treasure, undiscovered native grape varieties. If they can identify and cultivate these autochthonous grapes, Angola could offer the world a flavor that is completely, uniquely its own. I mean, that's the holy grail for any emerging wine region. Now, all of this potential is absolutely incredible, but let's be real, the path forward isn't going to be easy. So let's look at the future of Angolan wine, balancing the real-world challenges with the immense promise that lies ahead. Okay, let's not sugarcoat it. Rebuilding an entire industry is hard work. There's a critical need for more investment in modern technology and infrastructure. Winemakers have to deal with an unpredictable climate, sometimes drought, sometimes intense rain. And maybe the biggest hurdle is a scarcity of skilled workers, people who are trained in viticulture. That makes building a consistent, high-quality industry a major challenge. But the potential is just as powerful. We've talked about the incredible diversity of terroirs, and so much of it is still unexplored. There's a growing appetite for wine right there in Angola and across the region. Can you imagine the potential for wine tourism, pairing these new vineyards with the country's stunning landscapes? And above all, there's this rare, incredible opportunity to build a new wine identity from the ground up. So we end where we began, with a question. We've seen the fall and the start of a rebirth. We've explored the land and the grapes. Now, the world is waiting to listen. As this centuries-old, yet brand-new wine culture finds its voice again, what unique story will Angola's terroir ultimately tell?